Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sincerely Agile with Mary. Now, if you're joining us for the first time or you're watching the replay for the first time, this is the platform where we want to learn, unlearn, and relearn, make change agents of ourselves, and it is a platform where we want to be awesome and wholesome together. My name is Mary Laninyama. I am an enterprise agile coach, and today we're looking at agile adoption versus transformation. And joining me on this conversation is Pete Omotosho, and I'm just going to welcome him to the show. Hello, Pete.
Hello, Mary.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show today.
It's amazing to have you. It's just, it's a privilege to have you. Thank you so much because I do know that it is 3 a.m. in Australia right now because you are from down under. And it is 3
Exactly.
a.m. and I can't even begin to tell you how, I appreciate that level of commitment. So thank you so much, Pete. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. And thank you for having me again, like I said. So 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. For the love of the game, for the love of the game, we can do it, always do it. So
Absolutely, absolutely. For the love of agility, for the love of agile. This is what we do. This is what we live and breathe, isn't it?
exactly, Mary. You can say that again and again. So whatever keeps you happy, whatever you're passionate about, it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter the time. You can make it happen.
Thank you so much. We have some people joining us. We've got a few people on LinkedIn. Hello, Victoria. We've got Grace. We've got Ronke, and we've got Mariama on LinkedIn, I believe. Thank you all so much for being here today. Now, Pete, Australia. When Nigerians say they are going abroad, they are talking about United Kingdom, America, Canada, Ireland. Why Australia? Was it because of the weather or the koalas? Tell us.
Oh wow! Well, the first thing I say to people that ask me why Australia is, why not? Why not
Why not?
Australia?
Absolutely. Why not? I like that.
Australia is home. It is a multicultural Commonwealth. It's a multicultural country, and the
Mm,
weather is fantastic. Fantastic. Just like
mhm.
you mentioned, the weather is great. I like it here, right? It is home for me. It is a safe and stable country. It also has, a kind of friendly and relaxed culture. So if you really want to know the true definition of work-life balance, I think
Mm,
Australia is a place to be. Um,
really?
it's beautiful here. Yeah, I'm blessed to be an Australian. I'm blessed to be a Nigerian. I'm blessed to live in a country where you know it gives room for us to blossom and do whatever we want to do. No, so Australia is
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like that you said that it's society that works for everybody. And that is what we're aspiring for in other parts of the world as well. Nice one. Now, this is a very classical question that I ask every agilist on my platform. How did your agile journey start? Because you see, as you know, we want more and more people to, come into this space. We want more diversity in this space. So, how did your agile journey start?
Mary, to be honest, I'll say my agile journey started from the place of volunteering. You know,
Okay.
um, I believe that opportunities come wrapped up like presents,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know what is in the
Mm,
present until you unwrap it.
mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my story with Agile. So
Right.
it's a very long time ago. I was part of an organization that gave opportunities for employees, and I'm very very grateful for that. So around 2009, 2010, I had the opportunity to raise up my hand for a project that a lot of people do not want to be part of. And I learned one or two things on that journey. It wasn't probably the best of projects, but what I learned along the way took me to where I am today. So I discovered the efficacy
Mm.
of the ways of working that has to do with
Right.
agile, or let's say the agile ways of working.
Right.
So, unlike most people nowadays, I
Mm-hmm.
discovered agile ways of working on the field, and I was convinced before I even go on that journey. So
Mm.
it's not through certification, it's not through people are doing it. It was really on the field. I was
Mm.
getting my hands dirty, and so
Mm.
I have empirical evidence
Mm-hmm.
of what I am getting into, of what works. And
Fantastic.
it's been several years now. I'm still on that journey. It's a journey of continuous improvement, as you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what it is. So
Uh,
that's how my journey started, and well,
mm.
I've not looked back since then. So it's
Fantastic.
amazing.
And I like you said that it was more or less like you volunteering,
Yeah,
because volunteering is another thing we promote on this platform. It doesn't have to be that it's a paid job, because the practical experience that you're going to pick from that will be worth much more than what you're paid. And there'll be a lot to take into the future with that. Now we've got
exactly.
some people join us, so now I'm just going to read your bio so that our audience gets to know who you really are. So, Pete Omotosho is an experienced agile coach, trainer, and consultant who understands the complex challenges facing contemporary organizations today. He works with enterprises to co create change and brings the best of agile and lean approaches to clients. He has over 20 years of proven professional experience in energy, telecommunications, information technology, financial services, education, government consulting, and not for profit. He is also passionate about mentoring, coaching, and working with new and existing agile teams. He is the founder of Pete Lauren Consulting, an organization sold out to solving business problems, imparting knowledge, and enabling customers to thrive through innovative advisory solutions. He is passionate about developing the agile practice in Africa, and he is actively working towards achieving this goal. He is a vibrant member of the agile community both in Australia and Africa as a whole. Pete, it is a pleasure to have you on Sincerely Agile with Mary. Now,
Thank you. Thank you for
our
having me.
topic today is agile adoption versus transformation. And I just felt you were the right person to tackle this topic, okay? Now, when you look at the Agile Manifesto, but first let's dance around a little bit. When you look at the Agile Manifesto 20 years on,
Hmm.
what comes to mind?
Um, Agile Manifesto 20 years on. What comes to mind is, first of all, I'll say it was a good place to start 20 years ago. It was a very good place to start. You know, Agile Manifesto solved a lot of problems back then. And I'll say that it is still very much relevant now. You say the four values, the 12 principles are very, very much still relevant. If I look at my journey so far, the solution to most of the problems that we face in
Mhm.
organizations, in teams, by individuals, knowledge workers, can be traceable to those four values and 12 principles. So look at it as the foundation. Look at it
Mm.
as how I have a problem.
Mhm.
What can I open up and find a trace, a pathway to the solution? You can
Mm.
find it in the Agile Manifesto too.
Absolutely.
Now, let's look at it. These days, we are knowledge workers. Now, what we face these days, or what we are confronted with, is much more complex than what it used to be 20 years ago. So let's look at it this way. Every organization this day, or most organizations are complex adaptive systems. They're very complex because there are so many interconnecting teams, interconnecting workload, interconnecting individuals, and if there is a change, if a change comes up, we don't even know what is going to happen. We can't predict it. So that is the level of complexity we
Mm.
are dealing with. So the only thing we do is we hope that what we do will lead to a good end, or at the end of the day, we're going to be able to delight our customers. It is
Absolutely.
also,
And you're not just talking about internal complexity, it's also the environment in which
yeah,
these organizations are competing.
everything affects everything else.
Hmm.
Everything
Hmm.
affects everything else. It is also adaptive, also because those organizations, those individuals will actually need to learn from their experiences.
Absolutely.
They also, maybe, hopefully, learn from the experiences of other people as well. So you can see what we have in our hands is a complex adaptive system.
Yeah.
Now, those um, those things that we have in the Agile Manifesto, they will come in handy,
Hmm.
plus other things that we will learn or that we've learned over time. Because if we look at that, some of them may be prescriptive, some of them may not be fit for purpose. But again, probably as we go on, I'll be able to unravel and unwrap some of these ideas that may be added to what we learned in the Agile
Hmm.
Manifesto. So,
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Pete. Still on the manifesto, given practically all 17 stakeholders were already experimenting with one framework or the other,
yep.
what's the message there for us agilists today, do you think?
Yeah. So I kind of touched a little bit of that in in the last question. So, as agilists today, right,
Mm.
we need to take advantage of the options available to us. That is the way to start, right? In my own opinion, I believe there are no bad frameworks. There are no good frameworks. There are no bad or good practices, so to say. There is no one size fit all. Now, having said that, I need to also lay the foundation that context matters a lot. The context in the environment you work, Mary, is quite different from the environment I work. The only common thing is they are complex
Hmm.
and then they are adaptive, right?
Hmm.
So my message, to Agilists today is uh, from the place of openness to options. For example, when you look at the disciplined agile toolkit, it actually has a lot of proven tools, a lot
Hmm.
of proven practices
Hmm.
m- from these 17 stakeholders anyway, and so
Hmm.
many thought leaders in the agile space. So we need to capitalize on those on those frameworks, on those practices. And I'll give you a practical example. I like to give real life illustrations when I can. So when I was young, one of the things I loved to do was to follow my dad to the mechanic if it
Okay.
needs to fix the car, right? So I was always fascinated by those mechanics asking for different tools. I hear something like, give me 13 spanner,
Hmm.
give me a flat head, or bring a wrench. It's 12 that I need. Sometimes they make mistakes. They ask for a 13 spanner instead of a 7 spanner, and they quickly notice and they ask for the right one, which is what we need in this
Mm.
time as well. So
Quick
just like
feedback. Quick,
exactly,
quick feedback. Yeah.
exactly. So the same way that my that mechanic will
Hmm.
look into his toolbox, open it up, and pick a right tool. As agilists today, right, the ball is in our court. We need to be able at any point in time open our toolbox
Mm.
based on the context that we find ourselves, based on the environment that we operate. We need to be able to open that toolbox and
Hmm.
choose a practice or a combination of practices,
Absolutely.
frameworks, techniques that will work for us, right? So it is important to know all this. Now,
Mm.
and this is the difference between agilist by book and
Hmm.
agilist by practice. you know,
On the money.
because you
On the
know,
money, Pete. On the money. You've nailed that for me. And the reason I brought up this question, because you and I we've had, private conversations about this,
yep,
is you see a lot of bashing of frameworks. You see a lot of framework wars.
Yep.
you know. And for me, I'm like, we shouldn't even be having this conversation as agilists,
I know.
because I always go back to the 17 that actually started this journey for us.
Sure.
They
Sure.
were already experimenting with different frameworks, and they didn't come together to say it is Scrum or it is Crystal or it is,
Yep.
this or that. Instead, they looked for, values and principles to guide any context.
Exactly.
Okay, so those
Exactly.
values and principles will guide us based on the context. And talking about a toolbox, there will be several tools in your toolbox. Very
Sure.
good, lovely analogy there. Thank you so much, Pete. Now let's look at some of our comments here. There's so many comments here. Let me just go back a little bit. We have um, to be awesome, absolutely, to be awesome and awesome together. That's what we do here, Mutiat Abiola. That's what we do here. Ronke, how's Olivia the Agilist? They said.
Olivia is doing great.
Fantastic. Considering going to Australia for my year abroad. That's my daughter saying she's considering going to Australia for her year abroad.
Victoria, you're
Absolutely.
welcome anytime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ella there saying hello to everyone. Nice to have you all here. Um, I have Stella here. Hello, Stella. Nice to have you. Um, Ella says the Agile Manifesto is a great foundation, especially when introducing Agile conceptually to people and organizations. Absolutely. And it has endured. It has
Yep.
endured.
Yep.
Won't be able to stay long. No problem, Stella. It's always good to have you here. Good evening, Agilis. Glad to be here with Mary and Pete. Thank you very much, Femi Odelusi.
I
Always a
mean,
pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. Okay. Ella, hey
uh,
Femi, this is Pamela. Okay, okay. One size does not fit all. Absolutely. I like to carry our audience along, so bear with me. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you all for being here. The key word is experiment, which a lot of organizations are fearful of
hmm,
because it costs money and time.
that's
It
it. I
costs
know.
money and time, and I'm sure Pete is going to touch on that when we start looking at, adoption versus transformation. So
Absolutely.
let's start with that. Agile adoption and transformation are often used interchangeably. Is this correct? Let's start there.
Oh my, yeah. So where I come from and where I grew up, we say capital no. That's a no with an uppercase,
Okay.
Agile adoption and agile transformation are not the same and cannot be used interchangeably. I'll be very frank, straightforward, and short on this one
Hmm.
because I don't want to dance around the bush, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when done right,
Mm.
adoption should precede transformation when done right, right? For example, going to my practical lens, putting my practical lens on again, in the true order of child mobility, right?
Hmm.
Crawling precedes walking. Just imagine a child trying to run from day one, right? So crawling precedes walking, isn't it? It
Yeah.
does.
That's.
So a
Hmm.
genuine transformation should not come on board without a foundation
Hmm.
of adoption in place.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just like jumping a gun. It's just like trying to run before you even crawl, right? So what happens is over time, many organizations they do realize that they really need to start creating fit for purpose ways of working, or
Hmm.
probably begin to create valuable deliverables, and they want to do that in very fast increment
Hmm.
for various reasons. Maybe they want to continue to be the number one in the marketplace, or maybe they need to change their culture, or maybe they want to withstand forces that are coming against them, or maybe they don't even want to go into extinction. The reasons are numerous.
Numerous. Yeah.
And so they might say, yeah, it's time for us to start the transformation journey. Adoption is for a short time, a transformation is an ongoing journey. So I said
Absolutely.
I was going to be short on this. So
Yeah, and
um,
somehow you've answered the second question, because I was going to say, how does an organization decide if it is adoption or transformation? Because, like you said, you can't even have transformation without, starting with adoption first. But there are
Yep.
some people, like you said, they are just concerned about delivery, perhaps.
Yep.
So how does an organization decide if it's adoption or transformation?
So let's start from the place of definition, right?
Yeah.
These are two English words: agile adoption, agile transformation. What is adoption in its in by definition? Adoption. It's like choosing to follow an idea. It's like, yep, there is a method of doing things. I want to follow it. It's like, well, I need to take a course of action, right? That is what adoption means. I want to adopt something, right? I want to
Mm-hmm.
start doing. Now, transformation means change in form, a change in appearance, change in nature, right? One is choosing to follow, the other is going on that journey. So, when we look at adoption, it's more like initiating a process.
Mm-hmm.
The agile way of doing that is believing
Mm.
in the foundational things that Scrum, for instance, taught
Mm-hmm.
us. Those five values of focus, of openness, of courage, of
Yeah.
commitment,
Yeah.
of respect. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if this is built solidly, built, what happens? The transformation will have a high chance of success. So in a nutshell, adoption
Mm-hmm.
is a subset of agile transformation. Let's call it the forerunner of transformation,
Yeah.
right? So when we look at how do organizations really decide if they need to go on adoption or a transformation, first of all, they need to just make up their mind to say, well, what do we want? It
What do
starts
we
out,
want?
why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why? And for us to sustainably, as an organization, to sustainably transform, we need to know what we are getting into and we need to adopt first. So, transformation itself is a journey, it's
Hmm.
not a starting point. Let me go practical again from my definition. You want to make ice cubes, right? Choosing that idea coming to your head. Oh, I need water. I need an ice tray. That is adopting, right? And by the process of putting that ice tray into the freezer, it takes time. It doesn't just like automatic,
Mm-hmm.
right? The time it stays in the freezer, and then you go back there and bring it out. That is the transformation. And when you bring the ice block out or ice cubes, what do you have? You have a change in appearance.
Yeah.
You have a change in form from
Mm-hmm.
water, liquid, to solid, ice cubes. So that is exactly what happens. So for your organization to say, well, I want to go on an adoption, yeah, you're starting, but you don't want to stay in the state. You want to change state over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a journey, and it's a journey to continuously improve on the path towards agile maturity.
So
Now,
when organizations decide that they want adoption, could that be in response to a quick fix, if you like?
it could be, but that might not be a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a quick fix is a quick fix.
Yeah.
When the storm comes, when smaller organizations that can innovate faster come, how are they going to withstand it? Are they going to go on the spree for another quick fix?
Mm,
And all these quick fixes in a complex adaptive system will affect every other thing downstream and will
absolutely.
cause a lot of chaos. Now,
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes,
because I like what you're saying here because you see, talking about quick fixes, some organizations think agile is something you can do in a hurry when it comes to transformation. It is not. Okay. Like you said, it's a marathon. If you want a true transformation, if you really want to embark on change, then you have to be in this in the long haul. So
sure,
sometimes I feel that the people who have more of the adoption mindset, process oriented, oh, let's just adopt this process, let's take scrum, let's they are in that sort of like, should I say, feature factory mode. They
yep,
just want to deliver.
Yep. Yeah. Remember, there is one idea I got from you a long time ago,
Really?
and it says, "In the hand of a carpenter, every problem looks like the nail."
Absolutely. If you have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. I think I got that somewhere too. I didn't
Yeah.
come up with it.
So
Yeah.
but I heard it from you, and a key to it. Right.
Okay.
So for someone doing adoption, right? Am I like, for this problem, we use Scrum. For the
Yeah.
other problem, we use Scrum. For another problem, we use Scrum. And it gets to a point when Scrum will help you to the level that it's designed to help you. For example, it won't help you solve your problem.
No, it
It will
won't.
surface your problem.
It,
It will bring
it
it to the
will.
surface that you can see that, oh, we have a problem in our hands.
But
And
what do
it's
you do
helping
once you
you.
see it?
It's like me, it's my dad say, well, my car is faulty.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't start it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the guy, the only thing he has is a spanner.
Mm,
That's all. What does he do with that?
mm,
And that's
mm,
exactly so. No matter how uh transformed a process is, there
mm,
is always room for improvement. That improvement cannot probably most times be found
mm-hmm,
in quick fixes,
mm-hmm,
cannot be found in the place of adoption. It can be found in the place of transformation, and that
mm-hmm,
transformation becomes the way of life. It
mm-hmm,
becomes the belief, of
mm-hmm.
course, the mindset. It is a place of being, continuously being.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're having some comments here. Femi says quick fix equals organizational debt. I like that.
Absolutely.
Technical debt, organizational debt. I love that. And Herbert here says system orientation. Absolutely. If you want a transformation, you have to look at the entire system.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might have some local optimization. But back to you, Peter. I just thought I'll highlight some of these amazing comments we're having from our
Yeah,
audience.
yeah. I particularly love those
Mm,
comments. Systems
mm,
thinking is really, really
yeah.
important. Organizational debt. Well, that's another keyword I'll be using going forward.
Mhm, mhm,
Thanks, Femi, for showing that.
mhm,
So yeah, so let's just say, well, the decision still rests with the organization to
mhm,
either probably start
mhm,
their agile adoption journey
mhm,
with very, very solid things that needs to be done,
mhm,
right? Preparing the organization, the people, making sure that people are trained, for instance, making sure that they look at their environment, their context, like I said earlier on,
mhm,
and look for those wonderful, good practices that can help them adopt. And if they want
mhm.
to go on the transformation journey, they also can decide.
Okay,
Start
so
with
now talking about that, that just leads me into the next set of questions that I have for you. What are the expectations for agile adoption? So if I go into an organization and they say they just want agile adoption, what is the expectation for that?
So, expectation, right? Adoption is a place of preparation. That's
Mm-hmm,
what I'll first to start with. It is a place to test, to learn, right? It is. Let's go practical again. Yeah. When I was young, we did a little bit of gardening. We call it farming in those days,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
So, uh, in readiness for the planting season, I remember before the first rain
mm-hmm.
comes, there are things we need to do. Those
Right,
are the adoption level, right?
right.
This is time to prepare your soil for planting. This is the
Mm-hmm,
time you want to break your soil. You want to prepare for gardening. If
mm-hmm,
you do not do that and the rain starts and the weed is there,
mm-hmm.
you will get the weed instead of the corn,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you want to improve the level of water retention, for instance, you
Mm-hmm,
start before the rain comes. So
mm-hmm,
just like the rain preparation, or the soil preparation, I mean, just like the soil preparation, the best time now to prepare for the journey of transformation
mm-hmm.
is through proper and comprehensive adoption process.
Process. So
So,
essentially, if I'm a coach, right, and
yep,
I go into an organization and they want adoption, I will be thinking these people don't have time for transformation, right?
Possibly.
I'm
Yeah.
already thinking of doing agile and being agile here. So doing agile is adoption, because
Yep.
and being agile is transformation.
Yep.
And the being takes much longer.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
The
It does.
doing, oh, you can learn Scrum in 10 minutes, right? On YouTube, you can see some videos, Scrum in 10 minutes, Scrum in
I
12
know.
minutes, right?
I know. I
So
know.
and that's what you're talking about. You can learn that very quickly and you can
Very,
get
very
those
quickly.
practices going fast. So
Yep.
are we saying here that organizations that want to adopt, they are just looking for speed?
So I will say that that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
There are two elements here. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, some organizations want to start with adoption before
Yeah. Transformation.
transformation. They want to crawl before they
Mm-hmm.
start walking,
Mm-hmm.
which is given.
Mm-hmm.
Some or most, I've seen a lot, have said, yeah, we just want to do agile. And they look at the gymnastics. What are the gymnastics? The things they can see, the
Yes.
tools, everything on the right side of the Agile
Mm-hmm.
Manifesto, of
Mm-hmm.
the four values, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to see the ceremonies going on. They want to see people talking about it. They want to see all those things that people can see. But they've forgotten that under it, right, what we can see, the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
and what is underneath, right? What is underneath is much more, right? And this is exactly what we should be thinking about as
Mm-hmm.
agile practitioners. You go to an
Yeah.
organization, we want to do adoption. It's not bad. It's not bad. But what is the motive? Do you want to get to a place where you want to become or you want to be, or you just want to have a quick fix, or they don't even understand? Now, adoption starts with a decision. So it has to be full on, because partial adoption may be worse
Mm.
than no adoption at all.
Hmm. I like that.
So, which means one an organization says they want to go on on the journey of adoption for the right reason. Let's assume for
Mm-hmm.
the right reason now.
Mm.
People need to be trained, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
We need to identify early adopters, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to know, oh, what are the good projects, the pilot projects that we can
Mm-hmm.
strategically identify and select.
Mm-hmm.
Now, based on these, we can now say, yeah, we want to go on that journey of agile adoption. And once that is done right, it will make the upcoming transformation easier, for instance. And this is very important. Experienced agile coaches are required to make that shift, to make it count, to make it stick. Now, people say, agile coaches are expensive. Agile coaches are like education.
Mm-hmm.
If education is expensive, try ignorance.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we are expensive, but
Mm-hmm.
again, without
Mm-hmm.
agile coaches,
Mm-hmm.
man, it's
And another thing I see about adoption is that when we're talking about adoption, usually it's not organization wide for the most part. It
yep,
is usually team based, maybe
yep,
this technology team there and that technology team there, and they are trying to, get their churn their code out faster. But when it comes to adoption, and that takes me to the next question, what are the expectations for agile transformation? This is more, we're saying we want to change our people.
yep,
I mean, adoption is more about the process.
yep,
We talked about doing agile just now. When we
yep.
start talking about transformation, we are actually requiring a change in behavior. Okay,
Sure.
that is the ask. We are
Yep,
we are doing this organizational wide. We're trying to change our culture. We're asking leadership to actually eat their own dog food, essentially. So, what
yep.
else can you add to that, Pete?
Yeah, I'll add a little to that as well. So, a transformation, the expectation
Mm,
are quite numerous actually. But let's start by saying that there should be a thoughtful uh, need for a shift. an organizational shift, an organizational mindset shift, which means it's not about the people doing the work. It's not about the people rolling up their sleeves to do the work.
Mm.
Leaders need to be actively involved.
Yeah, I like that.
So, yeah, not just involved, but also they need to go on that journey to, they need to go on a journey as a team, the leadership team.
Exactly. The leadership team.
Yeah.
And, and,
So,
and, and that's one thing I give to SAFE. They take that leadership coalition so seriously, and
very
they
seriously.
take the training of
Yep.
leadership very seriously, because there was something, I can't remember the quote now, that it's not just about leadership support that we're looking for, but
Yep.
we also want leaders to know what it is that they must do. And that is
Yeah.
where the education comes in.
If you can't come, don't send anyone.
Don't send anyone. I like that. Send no
Yeah.
one.
Agile transformation is not something that developers do.
Yeah.
It is what everyone must do.
Yes.
If an organization really want to achieve their organizational goals through agile
Hmm.
transformation, everyone is in the deep. Everyone is
Yes.
really grinding. Everybody is doing it. So from the leadership team to the foot soldiers, everyone
Hmm.
is on the move now. And
Mm.
of course, through this, you can see continuous improvement. Through this, you can see feedback loops very frequently. You can see all this thing coming up. Now, I also need to touch on the culture. Yeah, we want a positive culture. We want a motivating culture
Hmm.
that does not encourage hierarchy, or what's this word when you plant a seed
Hmm.
that does not nurture hierarchy.
Hmm.
Because it's too if you have too much hierarchical
Hmm.
relationship, what happens
Hmm.
is you won't have engaged and motivated team
Workforce.
members.
Hmm.
Exactly. So we need organizations that have people that can manage themselves, that
Absolutely.
can manage themselves. One other thing that I've seen in a lot, especially in big organization,
Hmm.
is the middle management.
Yeah.
The middle management need to be very supportive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
I'm happy that you brought up. Why are we having an echo now? Is that I don't have anything on like I did the last time, but it seems like I had an echo just now. Anyway, talking about the middle managers, that is also part of the transformation we're talking about, because the middle managers, they are, I mean, why did they become managers? Because they were great at what they did, right?
yep,
And they
yep,
become managers, and they get into this, telling people what to do, command and control. So one of the things we have to do to help them with that transformation is to coach them into a new way of working, which is leadership, not managing.
sure,
Okay, because the teams are supposed to be self-managing and self-organizing, right? So it's
yep,
about helping them to see their relevance in this new organization, which
yep,
sometimes I think that is where the fear is coming from, to say, what's in it for me in this new organization that we're
yep,
creating? What's in it for me? And
exactly,
another thing I'm picking there is that you talked about the whole organization, because today it's not just about agile for agile sake. It's about business agility.
sure,
So if we're talking about business agility, then we need the entire organization to go on that journey. So it's about organizational agility. So we're
agility.
talking about finance, we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about HR, we're talking
Yep,
about marketing and sales. How are they all working together? So the focus is outcomes.
sure,
That's what I'm picking for what you're saying. That when
yep,
it comes to agile transformation, it's enterprise wide. So what are we all aligned to? We are
mm-hmm.
aligned to, satisfying our customers. So
Yep,
which means we must have that outcomes mindset. That's what I'm picking.
yep,
Just
yep,
tying the knots
absolutely,
together. Mm.
absolutely, Mary, absolutely, Mary.
So if I go on to the next question, what are the risks, if any, in thinking adoption and transformation are one and the same?
Uh, that's a dangerous terrain. There are a lot of risk, a lot of risk, a lot of risk, right? The risks are numerous.
Mm.
It's you know When you don't know where you're going, when you don't know where
Yeah.
you're going,
Any
everywhere
road.
looks like the way, or any road will lead you there. So imagine a situation where
Mm,
a child thinks, well, crawling is the same as walking,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Crawling is the same as walking. It's not. It's going to be that child will not grow, right?
Yeah.
So organizations and individuals that
Mm-hmm,
have this that have this thought process that say that adoption and transformation are one and the same,
mm-hmm.
they will be locked up in their infancy.
I love that. That's a
They will
huge
be locked
risk.
up there. So you don't want to take that risk, because what works for you 5 years ago will not work for you today.
Oh,
And
Pete,
that is
5 years ago, 3 months ago, in this VUCA world, what worked 3 months ago may not work today, which is why we
exactly.
can't rest on our laurels, which is why leadership is constantly scanning the environment. 5 years is a lifetime these days,
I
you know.
just want to like put
I,
it
I, I
down
like
there.
I like the way you responded to that. That you remain an infant because adoption is not looking at your entire organization. And
Yep,
today we're talking about business agility, right?
yep,
And when we talk about business agility, like I said before, we're talking about organizational agility. So if you're just looking at adoption, the chances are human resource is still operating the old way.
yep,
Finance is still operating the old way, right?
yep,
So if we are now saying we want to, you know, get our products and services to the market speedily, we want to be outcome focused, then we need to move from project to product. So,
yep,
how are we going to do that if we don't have all these parts within the organization moving and thinking and changing the same way?
yep,
We have
yep.
a question here for you. Can you explain self managing and self organizing in practical terms, please?
Oh, in practical terms, that's from Colin. Right.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. So Colin, context matters here. We use these words interchangeably. Let me first of all pull that out there. In practical terms, are there differences? There can be differences actually, because when you look at self-managing and self-organizing, there are two different words, similar, but can actually be different in context that are available to us, right? However, they can be used interchangeably. Now, self-managing, look at that word, self-managing. I go into a team, I try the way I work, and I manage myself to be optimally, um, optimally useful, valuable to my team. And every other person in a good team is doing that. And so we can see result. Now, self-organizing, look at a team of self-managing individuals. Just examine, just think about what is going to happen there. It's going to go in seamlessly. Things are going to happen seamlessly. If you're looking, if you're, I studied engineering in school, and there was a time we look at gears, interconnecting gears.
mm-hmm.
That is a self-organized system. But before the gears can connect to one another, all the gears are self-managed individual tasks as well.
Right.
So that is where we can say in practical terms, based on context, right? We can really put a little bit of difference in that. But we use that interchangeably a lot, because we say our self-managing teams,
Self
self-organizing teams.
organizing teams, yeah.
Yeah. But I just put a little bit of context in place. You as an individual can self-manage yourself such like other matured individuals, agile matured individuals in your team. And when you work together, things are going to work, and people are thinking, oh, this is seamless. But
Mm.
it is not a work that is seamless. It is a self-managed people or self-managing individuals that make the work look easy.
That make up
And
that team.
yeah, yeah, and it doesn't come in a place of, right, I know what to do. It comes
Mm.
in a place of power things, what we call the soft skills, communicating, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
How do people communicate? Um, uh, peer programming.
Yeah.
Working together.
Inspecting
all
and
the
adapting. They're not going to
inspect
get it right the first time.
exactly.
Inspecting and adapting. And of course, when we talk about transformations, we want this change, we want self-managing and self-organizing teams. What
Yep,
we are saying is we don't want to micromanage you. That is why we are asking the managers to become leaders who
exactly.
create a conducive work environment in which the teams can self-manage and self-organize. So, talking about self-organizing, I mean, these days we talk about a lot of um, team creations, and we're asking the teams to self-select themselves. I mean,
Yep,
we're coming from a place before where a few people might decide, this is how this team is going to be structured. But now we're saying let the teams organize themselves. Even in an art, for example, in
yep,
in a skilled agile environment where you want to put an art together, you're
yep,
telling a unit to organize themselves. So you do so from the get-go.
yep,
Okay, you're already creating that space to say go ahead and self-organize. So
yep,
what is this team going to do? What skills do we need in that team? And of
yep,
course, self-managing also, I tend to use these two words interchangeably, to be honest. I
yep,
use it interchangeably. Self-managing, I want to believe, is I'm self-directing.
yep.
I also see that self-directing as an individual and collectively as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me drop this before
yeah,
we go on. So think about self-managing individuals
hmm,
in an environment that is really not psychologically safe.
oh dear,
So no matter how pumped they are, self-organizing teams may not be realized. So again, that's
yeah.
another food for thought. We can use another hour unpacking that. So let's just leave it there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you've answered this one. Let's see. Okay, I know you also coach and mentor aspiring agilists like I do. Can you tell us more about that, please, Pete?
Yeah, I do. That's what I do for my every day, every time. Probably I'm doing it now. So this comes from a place of passion. Actually, it comes from a place of passion. I've always loved to give back, and I find being a coach, being a mentor, really fulfilling.
Mhm,
Mentoring aspiring agilists. Yeah, like you said, I find it
mm,
very fulfilling. There is a story to it actually. So a couple of years ago,
mm,
I wanted to recruit someone for probably a junior position, and
mhm.
the quality of application I got were really not that good, and
Okay,
some of the ones that were good led to sudden disappointment when I met a lot of them. I
okay,
did get very good guys, which I took one of them. So clearly, I saw there was a need, right? And this is where Footprints was born. This is one of the things I do as part of my engagement with Pete Lauren Consulting, and this is a platform I give that I use to give back to aspiring agile enthusiasts. So,
mhm.
for instance, I volunteer my time in Australian universities.
Okay,
um, yeah. As a matter of fact, I put together the curriculum for the Agile course as part of RMIT, that's a university in Australia, and I taught that course for 2 sessions before I ran back
fantastic.
to the. So I still go back there for as a guest lecturer
Mhm,
every semester.
mhm.
And just last month, I was in another university as a guest lecturer, Adelaide University. So this is an ongoing thing that I do just to nurture the upcoming generation, give them what it takes at a very very young age.
Mm,
It's like I said, it's from the place of passion. uh,
absolutely.
I'm a regular speaker, for example, at the Australasia Discipline Agile Special Interest Group.
Mhm.
This is across the whole Asia Pacific region. In fact, next week I will be speaking at the PMI Agile PMI Melbourne conference.
I
So
think I saw the banner on LinkedIn.
yeah, so all these things are deeply rooted
Mhm.
in sharing what I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So it took me many years to build, just like you, Mary. But I'm looking for a way to help aspiring agilists achieve what I learned for so many years in a faster way, in a better way. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what agile is all about, anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing right here, right now. And we
Yeah.
have Juliet Olaniyan asking this question. What's the prospect for someone going to Agile? A lot.
Oh my God. So let me say, Juliet. Years ago, I used to say agile is the future, right?
Hmm.
Right now, I am saying agile is the present.
Yes.
Agile, whoever is not thinking about agile,
Hmm.
any organization that is not thinking about agile these days probably is living in the past, right?
Absolutely.
So the prospects are numerous, but you have to make a decision to be a good agilist, because easily we know them, very easily. It's more like where I come from. Let's say the smoke, you can cover it up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, no matter how hard you try, it will come
Hmm.
up. The same
Hmm.
thing with it. So the prospects are numerous. The prospects
But the
are
work is real also. The
it is
work is
real.
real.
It
Yeah.
is real. It is real. Very real.
Mm. Yeah, the prospects are there, and it doesn't matter where you are, United Kingdom, America, globally, the prospects are there. One of my mentees very recently, in the last 2 months, got a job as a Scrum Master in Lagos, Nigeria. So the world is going global. Africa may be coming behind, but they are moving. Trust me. Nigeria is moving, Africa is moving, organizations are embracing the agile ways of working. And one of the things people, I hear a lot is, oh, I don't have money. No problem. If you don't have money, start with free content. There's free
Yep.
content. Just Google what is Agile. Start from there. What is Agile? What is Scrum? And you will get that for nothing on Google, on YouTube. Attend meetups. Okay, this
Yeah.
is what I say to people who want to start. Look at what we are doing here today. Because you're here today, that shows me you're serious about this, agile journey that you want to start. Go to meetup.com and make sure attend all the free webinars and meetups going on there. There's a whole lot going, but eventually you will have to spend money. So you have
Yeah.
to prioritize your funding. Where do you want to put your money? Investment in yourself is not a cost, it's an investment. So
Yeah.
the prospects are there. They are
And
there. Yeah.
let me add this, Mary, quickly.
Yeah.
Let me also say that so many people
Mm-hmm.
do not have because they do not ask,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I'm very sure, Mary, you meet on a daily basis people that ask you, but you need to know who is really very where it's coming from, why they are doing it. So ask people that are before you, ask for their time
Mm,
respectfully. They will give you, they will direct you, but the heavy lifting will still be from your side, will still
mm.
be from your side.
Mm. I like what Femi is saying here. If they are experts, managing them is a waste. In long term, self-organizing, on the other hand, gives them their much required. Absolutely, Femi. That is why the word self precedes that, I guess, because we don't need managers to manage them anymore. Rather, we need managers to create that enabling environment for them. When I coach managers into this new mindset, I always use the metaphor of a gardener, that I need you to start thinking as a gardener. This is what I say to managers. I need you to start thinking as a gardener, where you're creating that, soil for the plants to thrive. Yes, absolutely, Femi. That's a good one. So Juliet is saying thank you. Yeah, so Juliet, link up with Pete, link up with myself. We are always happy to give like 30 minutes of our time to mentor up and coming agilists. That is why we do what we do. But like Pete said, it's not a walk in the park. You need to be a self-directed learner, and you need to mean business. I have mentored people who within 3 months started their role as a scrum master, and I have people who 18 months later they are still at it. So it is the passion you bring to it, it is how badly you want it also. I mean, like you said, Pete, we've been there, we've done that, we bought the t-shirt. um and we're trying our best
Yep.
to make it easier for the
Yep.
people coming behind us. That is what that is all about. Agile is interwoven into the fabric of our daily lives. Absolutely, it's no longer negotiable. There is a pull for all organizations to become agile. The competition is fierce in the global market. Absolutely, Ella,
Well
it
said.
is fierce. If
Well
you're
said.
not agile today, if you're not, being responsive, because that is what that is all about. It's about being responsive to to your customers. Okay. Otherwise, they'll pivot. They'll go somewhere else. It's
Sure.
no longer the seller's market, right?
No,
It's no longer the seller's market. It's the buyer's market.
it
And you,
is.
as an organization, you must be able to change on a dime for a dime. You must be able to pivot. And that is what Pete was saying earlier on. Adoption cannot give you that. Adoption cannot give you that. With adoption, you could end up becoming a feature factory.
Yep.
Okay. You become a feature factory. You're churning out your code, you're churning out your features. But hey, where are the outcomes? So it's
Yep.
just about output when you're doing adoption if you're not careful. Where are the outcomes? Okay. Where are the, where's what are you leveraging in terms of your industry? That is so important. Femi Odelusi, thank you for giving back. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, me leaving evidence right here. Absolutely. That's one of my mentees right there. I have messaged you. Please respond. Juliet has put us on the spot right here.
I know. I know.
Fantastic, fantastic. We will
I will
respond,
respond.
Juliet.
That's a little promise. That's a little promise.
Exactly,
I will
exactly,
respond.
exactly. So I think you've actually answered this, to be honest. But if you were to give just one, should I say, advice or message to an aspiring agilist, what might that be?
I will say keep grinding, right? Keep
Hmm,
grinding, right? Rome wasn't built in a day.
no.
So there was something I dropped on LinkedIn this weekend, I think, or on
Mm,
Friday. And
mhm.
Mary, you responded to that. True agile capability uh, comes from the scars, from the agile scars, and big lessons are learned from such scars. So
Absolutely.
if you want to become a true agilist, the question I'll be asking you is show me your scars, right? Show me your scars are when you thought things are going to work and they did not work. How did you deal with it?
Yeah.
When you look to your right and to your left, and everybody was looking at you because you are the expert in the room, what did you do? When you have to walk up to your team and say, guys, I advised that this was going to work, but yeah, we have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
But you do that in on time.
Mm.
Those are the kinds of scars I'm talking about.
Yeah, but what
So
about somebody who is just starting very early on in their
so
journey? A
so
newbie, a total newbie.
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get your
I
hands
like that.
dirty. Don't be afraid. That is where the learning is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll encourage you, don't just do agile. Be agile. Don't
Fantastic.
just do agile. Be agile.
Fantastic.
Please
Fantastic.
get your hands dirty. Do things. Volunteer. Pitch your tent with experienced guys, and they are going to hold you in the hand, walk with you all
Mm-hmm.
the way,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just walking on their shoulders. You're
Mm.
walking side by side with them,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's what I'll say. Yeah.
Don't be afraid. I like that. Don't be afraid. Get in there, do your research, plan your time. We all have 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. Use it, be prudent, use it judiciously. That's all we have. So please link up with Pete on LinkedIn, and his website is petelawrenceconsulting.com. Now, Pete is all the way in Australia. So he actually, this is like what, 4 a.m. for Pete right now. So which
Yeah.
means he started with me at about 3 a.m. Pete, I can't thank you enough for that level of commitment. So everybody, please thank Pete for me. 3 a.m. He got up to do this. Awesome. Awesome. So we're coming up to the hour, and then we're just wrapping up. Yes, she said she's messaged us. Thanks, Mary and Pete, Ella. Big kudos to everyone. That's it. Giving back. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. People gave to us, so we have to give back too. The art of having difficult
Yep.
conversation is a skill.
It
Absolutely, it is a
is.
skill, Ella. Yes, great session. Suki, don't just do agile, be agile. Absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we'll be here again next week. Next week, we're looking at, we will have Natalie Brushkind. She will be talking about, sustainability beyond agile transformation. That promises to be a great one too. She's a coach in Silicon Valley, so it's getting better and better. So see you same time, same place next week. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much, Pete, for joining me today on Sincerely Agile with Mary. Thank you very much. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everyone. Bye.